everybody can see. I'm just tilting my camera down. Perfect. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah? Okay, perfect. Awesome. Now, do we... Okay, I'm going to go get my other phone up and running. So for everybody that doesn't know what we're doing, we're trying to go live from Facebook and Instagram at the same time. So,
hi, everybody. Hi, everyone. Hi, Nick. Hi, Naomi. All right. Thank you for joining. I'm just giving Nichelle a minute to join me on Instagram. There she is. For those of you that have us on Facebook, we are also live on Facebook at the same time. Technical stuff today. Yes, we are back again. Okay. Hi.
There we go.
All right, so we are live on both Facebook and Instagram. This is so exciting. Yay!
Yay, we did it!
We did it. Nice job. All right, everyone, thanks for joining. My name is Zeina El-Sherif. I'm a field education trainer with the Wella Company. I'm super excited for today because I have my awesome coworker with me.
Hi, my name is Nichelle Desautels. I am a field education trainer as well, and I'm located in Vancouver, BC. It is pouring rain here today, so I'm happy to be working from home inside.
It's a beautiful day in Calgary. The sun is shining.
Oh, that's good. Awesome.
Okay. Lots of feedback. Okay, we're getting lots of feedback.
Let's see.
I was just about to ask if you guys could hear us.
We might not be able to do this on both.
How's that? I'm still getting some feedback.
Is that better now?
No.
No. Okay. So I think we're going to scrap the Facebook and
okay, let's do that.
Just
by Facebook, join us on Instagram.
Yeah. There we go. Perfect.
You know what? We tried, guys. We tried to do some technical stuff, and we also tried several times before.
All right. Thanks for your patience, everybody. All right, so I'm really excited. I'm just going to bend down for a second. Yay, there we go. So we are going to be doing a technique today called Curly Brazilian Illuminage. And I'm really excited to bring this technique to you guys. We've been sitting on it for a while, and I'm excited to share it with you. It's nice to have a technique specifically for curly hair. As we know, a lot of ladies or a lot of people are just wearing their hair with their natural texture nowadays. So this is a great technique that we can bring into the salon to offer those clients that's very specific for their hair type. So I'm really excited to bring it to you guys.
Nick says, Nichelle, Nick says, you need me. So true. Can you help us with this, Nick?
Yes. Yes. Well, I mean, we'll try again one day. One day we'll get it. All right. So for the sake of Instagram, I did start my technique already. So I'm just going to move her up here. So I started in the back, and I think Zeina has all the sectioning.
I do. I have the initial sectioning here. This is how we have to do things now, guys, because Instagram doesn't let us show.
Yes. So, and I can show you guys my mannequin here. So there is a top section that's kind of like a horseshoe shape on the top, going to just at the crown here in the back. Then on the side, we have these kind of triangle sections coming from the back of the head, not quite to the apex of the crown, but almost, and then down to just behind the ear. And then we have two sections in the back, just above the nape. And I've already done one section here. And then we have our nape section just below here. Okay. So I started at the nape section. Zeina, do you have the zigzags there as well? All right. So I started at the nape section and I did those 3 big zigzags that are at the bottom nape section there. Now you can see there's actually 2 foils in the back. She's got a big head, so I couldn't just do 1 foil there. I had to kind of split my zigzags into 2 just to make sure I was getting the right kind of paint on there. I find when you try and squish too much hair or too wide of a section into 1 foil, you get a little bit of drag on the sides. So that's why I split it into 2. So those are my 3 zigzags there. And then I started working up to the side section here. So I'm going to actually start demoing at that back side section on the left-hand side of my mannequin. So there we go. Perfect. Now, can everybody see all right?
I think so. Now, if you guys have any questions while Nichelle's doing this technique, or if you guys have any comments about this, make sure you throw them in the chat because I'll be watching.
Yes, definitely. All right. Perfect. There we go. Awesome. So I am working on that back section. It's the left-hand side because I've already done the right-hand side. So for this technique, we are going to be working zigzag sections with back combing as well. So if you guys had seen the Brazilian Illuminage live that Zeina did, we worked with back combing sections as well, but we worked with triangles. In this technique, we're using zigzag sectioning, so it's a little bit different. The reason why we use zigzags in this kind of technique is the zigzag actually gives us a little bit of diffusion. So it helps us, not only is the back combing helping us diffuse the line, the zigzag is also helping us diffuse the line as well. So I am just combing out my section, making sure I've got no tangles or anything in there. You can see she's got quite textured hair. Now I'm going to start working my zigzags. So I'm going to be grabbing a slice first, and I'm taking about an inch wide slice, and I'm taking it diagonal forward, as you can see. So I'm working a little bit higher in the center of the head. Whoops, that was too far. A little bit higher in the center of the head, and then a little bit lower as I get down towards her ear there. Okay. All right. There. This is where I take my zigzag. So I have the end of my comb just directly on the scalp, and I start taking my zigzag. And I'm taking quite a large zigzag, not small ones. And then whatever is left out on the bottom is what I'm going to be leaving out. And then this is the section I'm going to be painting. So I'm going to start with 2 shallow back combs, and then I'll do a deeper one. So there's my 1 shallow, 2 shallow, and then I'll take 3, which is going to be a little bit deeper. Okay, so it's very similar to our Brazilian Illuminage technique. We're doing 3 back combs. The reason why this is important is because, especially when we're working with textured hair, we don't want to create a rat's nest of the hair. We want to have nice, even back combing and something that's going to be easy to comb out. Okay. So I preloaded some product onto my foil. I like to do that because 1, it helps with saturation, and 2, it just helps with the application. It allows me to kind of place the hair on there and it just sticks. And then I'm just loading my product on.
Sasha says she loves this and they are great sections.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Anybody that's taken a class by me knows I love sectioning, and I love pre-sectioning everything out because it just helps. I'm a little bit OCD, if you guys haven't noticed already. So it really helps with me and my brain to have everything nice and clean and sectioned out. So I love a good sectioning pattern.
Gives you a map to go off of, and you know where you're going next, which is nice.
Yeah. All right. So you can see I've got quite a bit of product loaded on there. Nice, good saturation. I did at the top do a little bit of diffusing, mostly just because I don't like purposely putting lines into the hair. And then I'm just going to kind of fold my foil up. and lock it in. So I'm actually using our Illuminage papers today, mostly just because I didn't have a foiling board at my house today. So normally if I was doing this technique in the salon, I would actually be using foil and a board because it just gives me a nice hard surface to work on and ensure I'm getting saturation all the way through. But these papers are amazing, but we only got a limited supply of them. And so every time I use them, I'm a little bit sad.
Do you use a board for like all your like foliage techniques? Like do you do that with Brazilian Illuminage too?
I do it with Brazilian Illuminage just because you're working with such large sections. But as far as regular foiling, I don't. So it's just when I'm working with kind of bigger, heavy back comb sections, I find it really useful to use a board. All right, so there's my other zigzag section. You need my refoils. Well, you know, Nick, I'm still waiting for my sample.
Yes.
All right, so here's my next section. So I took a nice about an inch wide section. I took my zigzag out of the bottom, as you can see, and then I'm going to go through and do my back combing again. So I'm going to do one shallow, shallow, and then one deeper. Okay. Now I'm using my YS Park back combing comb today. This is an amazing comb for doing teasy lights or any kind of back combing techniques. Thank you, Nick, for introducing me to this. If you guys haven't used one of these, they are amazing. They definitely make the back combing easier, and I find also because I'm using a specific comb, the back combing comes out really nice.
Nick says his refoils are coming soon, only have a limited supply at the moment. So stay tuned on the refoils.
I can't wait to see them.
So we have a question here in the question cards. Would you ever not back comb curly hair?
Yes, 100%. If I was doing a technique where I didn't really need back combing, or if I was dealing with hair that was compromised or some hair that's going to be hard to kind of comb out any back combing, then I would choose not to back comb. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything to add on that, Z?
Well, I mean, I guess like curly hair is so, it already almost diffuses the look already. And then plus, what I love about this sectioning technique is it's so organic and it doesn't have to be perfect, which is really great because curly hair itself is like a very organic look. And I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've definitely, in the past, I've done highlighting techniques on curly hair without any back combing. I would definitely say this is the first time doing a back combing technique on curly hair. And I used to be very scared of doing something like this on curly hair, but with, you know, counting your back combs and doing the 2 shallow and 1 deep, I find you can do it and not be scared of it. 2, 3. So by counting my back combs as well, it ensures I get a nice even result all over the head. So if I kind of just go in and start back combing all willy-nilly and maybe one section I have 3 and then the next section I have 5, you can get an uneven amount of diffusion. So by counting and ensuring you're doing the same amount of back combing throughout your sectioning, just really gives you, make sure you're doing it nice and even and gives you consistency throughout the entire head.
That comb seems like it stays really well in the hair.
Yes, it does. That's what I love about it. When I actually did this technique yesterday on my finished mannequin, I started using just my regular foiling comb and it kept falling out. And I was like, why am I using this?
Yeah.
I have a specific comb for this. So then I switched combs. Okay. So I'm using my Blonde Duraplex today. For those of you, yes, so this is what it looks like here. Those of you guys that haven't seen it yet. Okay. So my Blonde Duraplex is the same Blonde Dura multi-blonde powder that we all know and love. but it has our Wellaplex bonding agent in it. So we're going to get up to 97% less breakage. And I love the consistency of it. It has this nice creamy consistency, so it makes an application like this really easy.
Nick says using the Wives Part clips are good to hold in as well if you like to clip your back comb away.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. That's what these are.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. So we work up the head on either side there, working a diagonal forward section and then taking a subsection with a zigzag. When we get to the very top of that section, you'll end up with this kind of straight section here. So I'm going to take this, you know, last section and I'm going to subsection it with a zigzag as well. So I don't know if you have that on the head sheets there. Yeah.
That's this one here.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. So I'm leaving the rest of that hair out there, but there's my zigzag, and I'm just going to back comb and put my foil here, and that kind of finishes off the back. Now, if I wasn't doing this on Instagram, I would work both those side sections simultaneously. What I mean by that is I would do the right side, then the left side, then the right side, then the left side, just to ensure I'm getting an even amount of lift throughout and having a consistent lift throughout. So, do you like to do that too, Zeina?
Yeah, I like to work side to side as well, just because I also find it's just easier. Like everything's more out of your way that way when you're side to side.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, like everything's more consistent. What volume are you using, Nichelle?
So I started with 10 volume. And now I'm working with 15 volume, and I'm going to work up to my 20 volume for my last section. So I started with a low volume developer, and I know some people might think, really, 10 volume on that dark of hair? I'm not trying to get, you know, platinum blonde hair here. I'm trying to kind of illuminate her hair, but also, just because our hair is dark doesn't mean we need to go in with a high volume. We're going to get a lot nicer, more controlled lift using a low volume. And also we're going to, you know, protect our hair by going in low and slow. So instead of blasting open the cuticle and causing damage, I can go in with my 10 volume and still get that up to 7 levels of lift.
Yeah. Well, and not everyone with curly hair has coarse textured hair. There are a lot of people with curly hair that have very fine textured hair that lift really quick.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great call out. And I'm actually, like my hair, I'm naturally a level 5. And people always assume to go in with a high volume, not realizing that my hair is actually very fine and it lifts really fast. So, all right. So I'm working on that side section here, and I'm going to be working horizontal zigzags. So again, I'm taking a slice about 1 inch or so wide. And this can vary on texture. This mannequin, she's got actually quite fine textured hair, so I don't need to take small sections. I can get away with bigger sections. But if she had coarser hair, I might decide to go in with, you know, maybe a 1/2 inch wide section versus 1 inch. Okay. And then I'm going to take my zigzag subsection out here. Okay. So that's what's going to be left out at the bottom. And then I'm going to do my back combing. So shallow, shallow, and then 1 deep. And then I can lock her in. So I find, especially when working around these side pieces and everything, preloading the foil makes it really easy because I can just stick her right on and the foil stays in place.
Yeah, it looks like it just stays on there.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I feel like this is also a really quick sectioning pattern. Like after you do it a couple times, just because you're taking such large weaves and like zigzags.
Yeah, you move through the head actually fairly quick once you get used to the sectioning. And the nice thing is, like, because I sectioned it all out, I actually pre-combed all my sections out, so there was no tangles in the hair. So it made it really easy. It makes it easy to move quickly through the head. So I actually started this technique about a half an hour before the live, and that was with trying to figure out 2 cameras and everything, and I was able to get through most of the sectioning.
So do you recommend brushing or like combing out the hair before you start the technique? Because like sometimes people with curly hair, they don't like brush it before. So do you find with this technique it's like a bit easier to back comb once you've like brushed her out beforehand?
Yes, 100%. I know most people with especially this textured hair will not comb their hair because it actually makes it quite fuzzy. But right before the technique, because I need to be able to get clean sectioning and everything, it makes it a lot easier to kind of comb through the hair. So I actually applied a little bit of the Brilliance BB cream beforehand and kind of use that to help me kind of comb through and brush through the hair first.
I love that product.
Yes, me too.
Such a good primer.
Yeah, and it's not too heavy. It's not going to build up on the hair. It just helped me get through some of the tangles before doing all my sectioning. And then each section I really brushed through before clipping it with my little baby clips there.
What is your mixing ratio with Blonde or Plex?
So we can mix Blonde or Plex, 1 part powder to 1.5 parts developer, up to 1 to 2. So I love my kind of like what I like to say Goldilocks mixing ratio is 1 to 1.5. And so that's what I've mixed here. You can see it's quite a nice creamy consistency and the product kind of sticks where I want it. I find 1 to 2 just a little bit too runny for me.
Yeah, me too. I like, oops, sorry. I kicked my thing. I always do that. I always trip over my tripod.
Oh.
Yeah, I prefer 1 to 1.5 as well. I also find 1 to 2 just like a bit too runny. Yeah. But I know a lot of people do really like 1 to 2.
Yeah. All right. So I'm at the top of this section, and now I know in the head sheets it says this is just 1 foil. But this is kind of what I was talking about in the back. I find this kind of section, this is a really wide section. And if I try and squeeze it all into one, what's going to happen is I'm going to get drag on this side and drag on this side. So it's going to be, you know, a high point in the center, and then I'm going to have a little bit of drag on the side. So I'm actually going to split this into 2 foils. So first I'm going to comb through my section and take my zigzag. And then I'm going to just split it in half. So that gives me a nice, you know, not too wide of a section to foil. Sorry, my comb was in the way there. So, you know, I know we give you guys head sheets and it says, you know, oh, this is this foil, this is this foil. You really have the option to customize depending on the head shape, right? Like it doesn't have to, it's not, you know, law that you have to have just 1 foil here. You can really customize to the person's head shape and what's going to be comfortable for you. Awesome.
Yeah, I think as long as you keep those sections zigzagged.
Yeah.
It's meant to be very like organic and tailored to the clients.
Yeah, so I could take smaller sections, I could take larger sections. You know, I could leave more or less hair out depending on how much of the natural I want mixed in. You really can take these techniques on our head sheets and really customize them for the client. Okay. So I actually am out of product, so I'm going to bump up to my 20 volume now. Do you like to bump your developer as well, Zeina?
I do. I like to start low and slow also. I just find everything is more consistent that way. Everything processes very consistently. You don't have to worry about rinsing out the back.
Yeah, because there's nothing worse than like just sitting there with wet hair. All right.
And having to rinse out the back of the foils while like trying not to touch the top of the foils.
Yeah, definitely.
But you do what you have to do. If you have to do it, you have to do it. It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely flush foils quite a bit, but using different developer choices does help mitigate that or control that a little bit better. All right. Got my fresh lightener mixed up here. I'm just going to do my last foil here. So after we lift using our Blonde Dorplex, we do have to apply our Wellaplex step 2. So what we would do is we would rinse this out really well with water. Do not shampoo, and apply what I kind of towel dry, and then apply my Wellaplex step 2 right over top. Okay. And then I'm going to actually use my Wellaplex number 2 to comb out all my back combing. It's quite conditioning. And since it needs to sit for 10 minutes, that gives me, that helps maximize the time that I'm using by using that Wellaplex number 2 to kind of comb out all the back combing that I put in. And it's nice and conditioning, so it allows me to comb through the hair nicely.
And then pretty much by the time you comb it out, that Wellaplex is ready to be shampooed out.
Yeah, exactly. Oops.
Okay, so you are on the top now.
Yeah, so I'm on the top section. I'm going to start in the front, and I'm going to do 2 back-to-back slices. So just working on the hairline here. Now, even though I'm going to be back combing this, I don't like to do humongous slices. And I think that's just because if we're doing a slice right on the hairline. So I'm going to take a nice fine-ish slice, and then I'm going to back comb it here. So I'm starting with my 2 shallow and then my 1 deep, and I'm going to apply to that. Do you like doing slices on the hairline, or are you still very cautious of them?
I'm more of a weaver around the hairline. Like I like to thick weave around the hairline, you know what I mean? Or fine weave. I'm not a huge slicer, but with this technique, it the slicing works for sure, just because the hair is curly, it's all gonna look diffused. What I was gonna say too is what I love about this sectioning pattern and this technique too is I find sometimes a client with really curly hair coming in can sometimes be a bit intimidating, or you don't know where to start. So I feel like having this map and this sectioning pattern really does help break it down so that you kind of just know where to start and where to go.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it really helps break it down into sections and parts of the head. You're just flying through it so much easier that way.
Yeah, you're not lost at all, and you're not wondering, oh, what should I do with this piece, or what should I do with this piece? It's you've got a roadmap, and it's easy to fly through.
So those slices were back to back, no hairs left out?
Yes, back to back, no hairs left out. So I know on the head sheet it looks like there is hair left out, but there isn't. They are back to back. So I did the first one. I'm sure you guys saw a little bit closer to the root. This one I'm going to do just off the root. The reason why I like to do that is it kind of creates a bit of a gradient versus there being 2, big slices right at the root area. So we will be doing for this technique, there is a root melt as well. That being said, just because there's a root melt, I don't believe in putting in lightness where I need to actually root melt it out. I want it to fade out nice as well, right? So
speaking of your root melt, do you want to talk about, I guess once after you explain your next section, we'll talk about our toning options?
Yeah, definitely. All right. So now that I've done those 2 foils in the front, now if this was a person, I'd probably, fold these up and clip them out of her eyes. But she's not a person, so we're just going to flip her around. Now, when we learned the technique, they told us to work in the front. I'm all about client comfort, and I don't really like working in the front of the head because I find it can be very uncomfortable for the client. So I'm actually going to work from the back to the front. that's just something that I do. If you guys want to work in the front of the head, you can. So this section we actually do, and Zeina can show the head sheets. We're going to be doing zigzags, but we're going to be working kind of like a chevron or a herringbone pattern. So they're diagonal back to the head, but they kind of cross over each other. So I'm going to take my first section here, and then I'll kind of show you what I mean when I get to the next section. So say that's my first section. I'm going to take a subsection that's zigzagged. The next section is going to cross over here. So they kind of link together. It's not like they just meet up in the center. They cross over and create a herringbone pattern.
I love this pattern for curly hair.
Yeah, me too. It's so good. Like it's, all right. So there's my zigzag. And then I'm going to be backcombing this top section. If you guys can't see, just let me know. I'm trying my best to.
Can she go more like this way? Just like the stand? Yeah. Yes.
Better?
Yep, that's great.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to do my shallow, and then one deep. And then just lock in my backcombing there. I'll preload my foil and then just slide it in. Perfect. I think I saw Deanna in there saying hi. Hi, Deanna. All right. So I'm on the back of the head right now. So you'll notice I'm not going too close up to the root. Probably as I get closer to the front, I'll bring it a little bit closer. And that's just, again, kind of creating a little bit of a gradient. So brighter around the face and then a little more diffuse as we get to the back.
Deanna says she loves this technique.
Amazing.
Okay, let's move on to talk about our toning options. So I know you toned your mannequin with Illumina, your finished mannequin.
Yes. So where do you want to start there?
Well, I guess we got tons of toning options. We have Illumina is a great toning option. I love to tone with Color Touch on curly hair just because it's ammonia free, very conditioning. That's our demi permanent. Could also tone with Color Tone Perfect. What's your preference, Nichelle?
So I would say in the salon, 9 times out of 10, I'm toning with Color Touch. Like for the exact reasons that you said, it's ammonia free. It's got keratin infused in it. It's got glimmer pigments. So if you guys have ever seen the little glitter in the bowl when you're mixing up your Color Touch, those little glitter makes me happy. So those are our glimmer pigments at work. So it's really kind of your healthiest option for toning or color balancing the hair. Now, that being said, Illumina is amazing as well. It is a permanent hair color line, but it can be used in a toning capacity. And why I like it in a toning capacity is because it has a violet rosé base. It is great for toning those kind of warm pigments out of the hair.
Mm-hmm. So yours is more for the color options in Illumina.
Yes, it was. We have some new shades in Illumina that I'm obsessed with, and I wanted to incorporate that into my look. So that's why I chose Illumina.
It's hard not to want to reach for the Illumina sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do love Color Touch on curly hair because it's the 1-to-2 mixing ratio, really easy to kind of saturate, get through the hair really quickly. It has those fiber proteins that are formulated into the color. So again, really conditioning. But yeah, lots of great toning options for curly hair and for this technique.
Yeah. So, and you can do your root melt and tone in one step, which is what I did on my mannequin. So, it really just maximizes your time. I'm not too worried about it over depositing or anything like that, because Color Touch, because of that 1-to-2 mixing ratio, it's nice and diffused.
Okay. You might have to show us your finished one, Nichelle.
Okay, sounds good.
Maybe talk us through what you would do after this foil, though.
Yes, I will. Okay. All right. So, you know, usually this technique is quite fast, obviously talking and doing it at the same time. And also, because I'm having to work kind of sideways to my mannequin right now, it's a little bit awkward. All right. So I'll just move her. Oops, there we go. All right. So I would continue to kind of work back of the head, working in that kind of herringbone pattern. So you can see each fold kind of crosses over on the center, creating that herringbone pattern. So my next section, I would take an inch section going this way, take my zigzag subsection, and then I would take my next section over here, take my zigzag subsection, and continue to work to the front of the head. Okay. Working those zigzags and doing my back combing. All right. Then after I finish processing, I would rinse her out really well, apply my Welaplex number 2, and then use that Welaplex number 2 to comb out all my back combing. And then I would go in with my Root Mountain tone. So here is my finished mannequin.
Wow.
All right. I'm just
That's great.
Get her set up on the stand here. Perfect.
I can't wait to hear about your toner.
Yes. So as we talked about before, we have lots of toning options. Normally for curly hair, Zeina's absolutely right. Color Touch is the best option because of all the things we talked about. But I used Illumina just because I love Illumina and it's Mannequins. All right. So I did her root melt with 5-stroke 3-5. So it's a level 5 gold mahogany. So it created this really nice chocolate brown at the roots. Okay. And then on the ends for her toner, I did 1/2 7-stroke 3-1 and 1/2 8-stroke 9-3. So I did a level 7 gold ash with a level 8 Cendré gold. So it created this very nice kind of caramelly color for me, which I'm loving.
I love it.
So you can see it's really quite diffused. It just kind of, you know, and it's not Illuminage. It's named that for a reason. It kind of just illuminated her hair. So we don't see any lines or anything like that. It just kind of really illuminated all of her hair.
Her curls look amazing.
Thank you. That was the part that probably took the longest.
What did you do? How did you do it?
So I rinsed her out using my Color Motion Plus and post color treatment. And then I used the Color Motion Plus mask as well, just to really get a lot of hydration in there. And then for finishing products, I towel dry, I combed her with the conditioner in, just so I wasn't disturbing the hair too much afterwards. And then I towel dried her and then applied my Milky Waves from NutriCurls and just really saturated the hair. So this is like a leave-in conditioner or nourishing spray for waves, but it was just going to really help me kind of comb through all my curls and everything. So it's got a light nourishment, as you can see. And then directly over top, I applied the Curl Elixir Balm. Now this is something that's a little bit heavy. It's got intense nourishment, so it's great for this kind of textured hair where we have lots of that kind of curly, coily hair. It's got lots of nourishment in it. It's a cream. What I like about this is it's not too sticky, so it's a very soft hold, but it's got lots of nourishment in it. Then I sectioned the hair into 1/2-inch sections, working all the way up to the top of the head. So I worked the perimeter and I kept working kind of in a spiral pattern up using my fingers, and I used the curl shaper. So I'd apply this all over my hands and fingers, and I twisted out little 1/2-inch square sections twisting to get the curls to separate. And then I let it air dry overnight. Then this morning I broke up the curls and kind of uncased them a little bit. So it got this kind of texture.
Wow. Well, that looks amazing. I knew it was going to be a lengthy process because it looks so good.
Yeah. So the twisting of the curls part probably took me about 30 minutes. But honestly, it's so worth it because you get these really nice defined curls. It really helps control the frizz. And then this kind of look could last her for an entire week if she's sleeping with, you know, like a silk pillowcase or satin pillowcase or wrapping her hair. And she's not going to get fuzzy or frizzy. So, you know, it takes a little bit of extra time, but the extra time is so worth the end result. So
yeah, that looks amazing. Well, everyone loves it. We got stunning. Love it. We got some hard eyes.
Thank you.
Yeah, that looks fantastic. Thank you, Nichelle.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Zeina, for joining me today. I know we had some other things we wanted to talk about before we wrap up.
Yes. So the first thing we want to talk about is if you guys are free in literally 15 minutes, head over to the Hairbrained on Facebook, and Chelsea Mann, one of our field education trainers, is going to be live on the Hairbrained Facebook page. So head over there in T-minus 15 minutes. We're super excited to see her on there. Next up, April 25th, we have We Create. So make sure you guys register. It's going to be an amazing event. It's on Sunday, April 25th. You guys can register. And what's cool is if you don't have time to watch it on Sunday, you have up to 30 days to watch this event. There's going to be amazing artists, including Romu Felipe, who created the curly Brazilian Illuminage look. He is going to be on there, and it's going to be so much amazing content. So you don't want to miss it. So make sure you head over to the We Create website and register now. And what else do we have going on here? April 28th is the next live, which is me. So April 28th, the next live. That's going to be me. I'm going to be doing a live on Magma on Wella Canada West Instagram at 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So that would be 12 o'clock in BC. And for my Toronto friends, it's going to be 3 o'clock. So tune in. And the last thing is BEA. Nichelle, do you want to take it away on BEA?
Yes. So for everybody on here, if you guys don't know, every year Wella does a competition. It used to be called Trend Vision. We now call it the Beauty and Vision Awards. It is a competition we do every year. There's a ton of categories. There's even a textured hair category. And it's really, really easy to enter. All you have to do is post a picture with your corresponding category hashtag and tag Wella Education on Instagram. Entries are open right now, and they will close on May 20th. So, you know, right now, guys, I know there's a lot going on in the world, and we're all just looking for a little bit of inspiration. Whether you're open or not, you're able to enter in this competition. You can do this on a live model. You can do this on a mannequin. If you guys would like to know where to find mannequins or need help finding mannequins, you are more than welcome to reach out to Zeina or myself or anybody on our team with your questions. Right now, it's a really great time to enter because you can do it on a mannequin. So it kind of takes some of the pressure off a little bit. It allows you to have kind of that creative freedom. You don't need a professional photographer. You can take a photo with your phone. I know some of you guys got amazing phones out there that take great photos. So don't feel the pressure of needing this big photo shoot. It's really that easy to enter. So you can head over to the Beauty and Vision Awards website. It's beautyandvisionawards.com, and all the rules and information is up on there.
Yes, that's great. And did you say May 20th? I think you did.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much information. It's such a great competition, such a great way to like get your name out there, do some networking when we're allowed to do some networking, grow as an artist. And
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's all we had.
Yeah, I think that's all we had. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I hope you enjoyed the technique, and thank you, Zeina, for keeping me on track and being my co-host.
Anytime. Thanks for joining, everybody. We'll see you guys on here next on April 28th. Yes.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay.